If Barack Obama opens up and gives his college records and applications, I will give to a charity of his choice, Inner City Children in Chicago, American Cancer Society, AIDS research, anything he wants, a check immediately for $5 million.
Nobody saw it coming. That was the most remarkable part. For years, the mockery had been loud, public, and relentless. The sneering comments at rallies, the casual dismissals on television, the repeated suggestions that Barack Obama, Harvard Law graduate, former editor of the Harvard Law Review, constitutional law professor, had somehow not earned a single thing he had ever achieved, that the degrees were hollow, the credentials suspicious. The whole story, according to his loudest critic, simply too good to be true. Obama never responded. Not once, not publicly. He smiled, he gave speeches, he played golf and released memoirs and appeared at charity events with that same unshakable, almost frustrating calm. The kind of calm that makes loud people louder because silence, to a bully, feels like weakness.
But no one is happier, no one is prouder to put this birth certificate matter to rest than the Donald. And that's because he can finally get back to focusing on the issues that matter.
On a Wednesday morning, with no press conference, no announcement, and no warning whatsoever, a plain link appeared on Barack Obama's official website. And when people clicked it, what they found stopped the internet cold. It was a court transcript, not just any transcript, a full, certified official record from a federal appellate case argued in 1994. A case where a young Barack Obama, still in his early legal career, stood before a panel of federal judges and delivered an oral argument so precise, so structured, and so devastatingly effective that one of the judges, a Reagan appointee, notably, interrupted him mid-sentence not to challenge him, but to compliment him directly on the record. The room had gone quiet that day in 1994. And it went quiet again 30 years later when America read those pages. But that was only page 1, because attached behind the transcript was something nobody had anticipated. A personal letter, handwritten, from the supervising partner at the firm where Obama had worked that summer, written the week after the argument, addressed to the Harvard Law faculty. And the opening line of that letter was enough to bring the crowd at a Chicago watch party to its feet.
I still remember when I was elected the night of Harvard Law Review to become the president, and it's like electing the Pope, right? The white smoke rises, and you've got to go into the room.
The cameras caught everything. People who had spent years absorbing the mockery, the doubt, the relentless chipping away at a man's earned accomplishments, stood up in living rooms and community centers and church basements and read those words out loud to each other. Elderly men who remembered a time when a black man could not walk into certain courtrooms as anything other than a defendant. Women who had watched every credential questioned, every achievement minimized, every success reframed as something given rather than earned. They read it, and the reaction was immediate. Within the hour, the transcript was trending. Within 2 hours, legal scholars were appearing on cable news to contextualize just how rare it was for a federal appellate judge to compliment a young attorney on the record mid-argument.
Barack becoming the first African-American president of Harvard Law Review was received extremely well, with a lot of pride. I think that a lot of people don't understand what the Harvard Law Review is and why it's so important. The reason why the Harvard Law Review is so important is the most important legal journal in the world. And what happens is when people are arguing court cases or they're making decisions, they look to the law review to make arguments.
Within the evening, the clip of a news anchor simply reading the judge's words aloud had been shared 4 million times. And through all of it, Obama said nothing, posted nothing, appeared nowhere. He didn't have to, because the document spoke with a clarity and a weight that no rally speech, no television appearance, and no angry social media post ever could. It didn't shout. It didn't perform. It simply existed, clean and certified and permanent, the way truth has a habit of existing long after the noise around it fades. The kind of language that tries to take up space without saying anything at all. Nobody was convinced, because there is a particular kind of silence that falls over a crowd when they realize the person who was laughed at was never the one who should have been embarrassed. That was the silence that fell across America that Wednesday. Obama had waited years. He had absorbed the noise with grace and patience and a dignity that his critics could never quite understand, because dignity, to people who have never needed it as armor, looks indistinguishable from weakness. But it was never weakness. It was preparation. One document. No speech, no rebuttal, no anger. Just a single link on a quiet Wednesday morning, and the truth doing exactly what truth does when you finally give it enough room. The crowd erupted, and this time, nobody was laughing.